So our next guest is Steve Plater, who of course has won multiple TTs himself. He was a team manager for the Syntec BMW team, and now I believe he's an ambassador for the brand new BMW Cup that's coming to British Superbikes this year.
Hello, Steve. Can you hear us?
How you doing, guys? Am I loud and clear?
Yeah, you're coming through. Thanks for coming on the show. Tell us more about the BMW series in the BSB. Tell us what your involvement is with it is.
Yeah, well, Phonetic BMW, I'm still managing the team for 2023. Also, the new one-make series, the BMW, the F900R Cup, I'll be the ambassador for that. I'm pretty much looking after the way that series runs at BSB alongside, of course, BMW and MSVR. I'm looking forward to it. It's certainly going to be quite a tough series, very competitive. There's been an awful lot of interest, as you're probably well aware, from the end of last season, with many people kind of trying to find out how the championship's working and what it's all about. And it's a very even series on pretty much a twin-cylinder, 104 horsepower BMW that's going to be good elbow bashing racing, good old-fashioned racing.
Yeah, I suppose that's all we care about, to be honest. Is from a fan's point of view, is the racing going to be as good as everything else, basically? And you're saying that it will. What are the grids looking like at the moment?
Yeah, very good. There's well over 100 people showed a massive interest and applied. Entries opened quite early with MSVR, and we're up to about 50 at the moment. We're just about to release on Thursday night. There's a big conference meeting between all of the current entries, myself, BMW, MSVR, and all of the partners that are working alongside the championship, Pirelli, R&G, K-Tech. And on straight after that, we will release the prize fund and the end of season prizes that without doubt will entice some more people to the grid.
And you spoke about quite a lot of interest in the BMW Cup that's coming this season. Could we potentially see grids that are almost too full and that would have to run split grids or split qualifyings?
Yeah, there already is. In all fairness, like I say, well over 100 interested. We have close to 50 already. Those bikes are being built. Some people are out testing in Spain already and preparing ready for the 2 BSB tests at Donington Park and Silverstone. I'm pretty sure after the press release on Thursday that we'll be getting some more as well. We've also got 2 press bikes where various names will be jumping on, and I've got 2 wildcard bikes where I've already got some names been knocking on my door trying to get out there already. So pretty much Stuart Higgs, series director for BSB, he's come up with a fabulous idea, which is like a supercross format. So there'll be practice and qualifying. There'll be 2 heats where the top 16 from each heat will qualify for the main final, and then there'll be a last chance qualifying race where the top 6 will go through to that final as well, with a decent, with a decent prize fund. So it's all to play for. There'll be lots of racing. All the entries will get a minimum of 2 races. Some will get 3 for sure. And you know what it's like. Anything can happen when everybody's desperately trying to not just score points, but win some decent prizes.
And just for everyone at home that may not properly understand the regulations yet or understand the concept of the BMW, because of course it's not like a traditional race bike. It's almost like a naked style race bike, I guess it's fair to say. So what are the regulations looking like for this class? How much can each rider change their bike from stock?
Every bike will be exactly the same. Pretty much you when you enter the series with MSVR, you get the full discount on the race bike, on the road bike, should I say, and the race package, which is bought through Fortis Racing. All of the parts that you buy for the bike cannot be bought from anywhere else, Fortis only, which is pretty much spare wheels Arrow exhaust, K-Tech rear shock and a cartridge kit, all of your R&G protection on the bike, and just various things like there's 3 different sets of handlebars, just in case for different heights. There's 3 different seat levels. That's pretty much it, really. There's some other bits and bobs, but in general, every bike will be the same. In suspension, you've got a standard suspension setting, a standard spring rate. You can go one size harder or one size softer, and that's it. Just get on with it, wait for that red light to go out, and then start racing. Making it nice and simple.
Yeah, certainly. And talking about racing and talking about earlier on, whenever you mentioned that you're going to be team manager once again for the Syntec BMW team, how would you say your first season went in that role for the Syntec team?
Hey, listen, it's difficult to a certain degree because, of course, I'm used to managing many riders within one make series. But when it comes down to obviously Superbike riders, I've worked closely with a few riders over the last few years since retiring. I enjoy it. It's always better, obviously, when you reap the rewards. It's not easy. You're dealing with obviously different managing staff, obviously team members. But the good thing is, everybody wants the same goal. It's never easy. But it's very rewarding. And I learned an awful lot last year as well.
And just to put the watcher or listener, if you're listening to this on the podcast form, into the eyes of a team manager, what does a typical weekend at a racetrack look like for you?
It depends on the weather, how the weekend's going, how the riders are, if they're fit, if they're fighting, if they're good. Pretty much, obviously set-up day for a normal weekend, set-up day Thursday. Sometimes go for a walk around the track with the riders and crew chiefs, and then of course once you get into Friday, they're busy weekends now. It's a great format with the 3 races, but there's not too much practice time, and it's exactly the same for every rider, every team, before you get into obviously qualifying and the first sprint race. So it's pretty much trying to keep everything settled, everybody working well, not just the rider, but everybody within the team. In the Syntec BMW team, most of the staff there have been there for a long time, so they all know their roles. They're very good at what they do. So it's just a case of managing any issues or problems that come along and keeping on top of things. Of course, you never know what's going to happen with inclement weather or problems, mechanical things or riders having problems. I may even go out around the course doing a bit of spotting or just trying to keep things running smooth, really. That's my job. My job is to hopefully let all of the staff get on with their job. They're employed because they know what they're doing. I'm very confident in their ability. That goes from crew chiefs, mechanics, tyre guys, everybody involved in the team, including the rider. So it's not always easy, but it's just a case of having the confidence and trusting those guys to do the job correctly.
And you spoke about the riders briefly there. Last year, it was Danny Buchan and Andrew Irwin riding for you. Were you able to use any of your past racing experience to help them out?
Hey, listen, they've all done a lot of racing. They're fairly experienced, but, of course, you pass on all of the experience I've had over the years in all the disciplines I've raced. There's only one fool in life, and that's the one that doesn't listen, because you can always learn something from anything that anybody tells you with experience.
And earlier on, we spoke to, just a couple of minutes ago, we spoke to Christian Iden, and he was talking about the Supersport class. You're a champion in the British Supersport class yourself. So what do you think about the current Supersport regulations with them allowing different cylinder bikes, 3-cylinder bikes, twin-cylinder bikes in the class?
In all fairness, at all levels, it needed a shake-up. MSBR have been looking at it very hard, as well as other championships, including the road racing, because it's been quite dominant by one manufacturer for a while. So it needed opening up to make it as competitive as it used to be, with many manufacturers fighting for the title. I think it's going to change this year. There's some new bikes coming to the championship, or not new, maybe not new bikes, but new to the championship. The rules have opened up. They've done a great job in kind of managing the rules to try and make all of these bikes competitive and nobody with a real game. So it'll be very interesting to see, who's doing what. especially as far as the 2 pre-season tests in the UK on the circuits that they're racing, to see who's going to be on the pace and who's doing the best job. There's always surprises in any championship at the beginning of the season, but there's a wide choice of bikes now, obviously, and Wilf, Motor Rapido, he's preparing a good bike as well. That'll be very interesting to see how that goes.
And some people may regard you as one of the busiest men in the paddock. Of course, you're getting involved in the BMW Cup. You're a team manager, and you've also been doing some TV presenting since you retired. So how have you found that, especially last year with the Isle of Man TT being live for the first time? So how have you found taking up a new role within the racing world?
Yeah, of course, everything's new. I love the variety because it keeps you interested as well. Everything's different each day, and of course, very, very busy. But kind of to identify a few, I enjoy every part of my workload. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I really do. The TV job is much better, in my opinion, being live. To start with, it's fabulous for the fans of the TT Plus channel. They get so much content all year long, including the podcasts, some great coverage, some great documentaries. And of course, when the Isle of Man TT is on for the fortnight, at the end of May to June, then it's great coverage, and it's much better to work on because everything's off the hip. There's nothing kind of preloaded into your mind and nothing rehearsed. It's purely off the hip. And it's, I believe, when you're passionate and involved with the sport for so long, that's when the best comes out in all of the commentators and presenters.
And then final question for me before I hand off to Christian. With the Isle of Man TT Plus that you've been involved in last year, do you think it's going to have a real good positive effect on the race? Do you think it'll maybe attract some more people to head over to the island?
Yeah, without doubt. Pretty much the main object of the TV coverage is to sell the Isle of Man, and to encourage people not just to return for the TT races, but of course all the way through the year. It's a beautiful island. It's a place that I go on holiday with my family away from the TT. It's gorgeous, but it's our job to sell that. Now, of course, it's a busy 2 weeks, without doubt. With it being live, it's much busier and great. But pretty much, I think everybody's well aware. You really do need to book very, very early for the Isle of Man TT races because it's so popular. Certainly ferries and accommodation. You need to be on the ball a year in advance.
And actually, just touched on road racing there, and the Northern Ireland in general has been in some huge fire over the past couple of weeks with the MCUI and the whole insurance news that has came out. So what's your thoughts on the whole situation that's going on over in Northern Ireland at the moment?
Yeah, North and South of Ireland, it's very tough. The insurance industry is very volatile at the moment. So it's not just bikes, it's not just bike racing, it's various different aspects of that industry. So, premiums for 2023 for the Isle of Man TT and for North and South of Ireland are very, very expensive. There are, at the present time, the Coleraine District Motorcycle Club and the North West 200, they are waiting for some premiums to come back, some offers for insurance. Fortunately, there are 2 underwriters that are interested in insuring the event, so it's just a case of waiting for those to get finalised, to look at those policies just to see if it is within budget for the event to go ahead.
And in your honest opinion, do you think it's currently optimism to get Northwest 200 going, or do you think there is a good realistic chance of the race going ahead in May?
I believe there's a good chance. I'm very positive about the event going ahead. Without doubt, the government want it, they need it. It massively helps the economy. It fires an awful lot of money into Northern Ireland, the Northwest 200 does. I was over there last week for Meet the Stars and looking after the newcomers for 2023, showing them around, not just the paddock, of course, the circuit and everywhere. And while I was over there were various phone calls from local businesses desperate and offering money to try and help the event carry on, because they obviously realise how much revenue the Northwest 200 brings to the north of Ireland. we're still there.
Yeah, I think Christian may have his mic on mute.
Having my mic muted doesn't help. Sorry, Steve. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Just the joys of live broadcast. Just carrying on really from what Lewis was saying with the insurance and the roads. In your opinion, do you feel like it could have a knock-on effect with the TT? Is there a danger of the same thing happening to that in the future?
No, I don't. The TT is definitely going ahead. It is what it is. Obviously, the premium, the policy will be more expensive for 2023. I mean, that's normal with any insurance, your home insurance, your flipping car insurance, everything. But the will be higher, of course. Possibly a little bit easier for the Isle of Man because they have the government to overwrite and to take care of things, because obviously it fires a massive, huge amount into their economy also. But, it's just a case of keeping positive, really. I really feel for Southern Ireland. I believe there's no short circuit racing there either for 2023 planned with the insurance problems. So, it's it's very difficult. I've had a massive amount of interest from a lot of Irish riders in my BMW F 900R Cup, purely because they can't race over in Ireland, and they're looking towards coming over to England to do some, if not all, of the rounds.
Yeah, interesting. We all hope we can get the road racing, going for 2023. It's a shame in Southern Ireland, Ulster, for example. You may know a little bit more about it than than us, but when it was publicised last week about the insurance issues and the increasing costs, did it come as a surprise to you as it came to everybody else about how things have come to this point?
No, I think that, various people have been aware there was going to be a significant rise in insurance policies. It's difficult because until you receive the policy, then you can't react anyway. So, of course, it's not just a case of one person sitting down and opening a letter through the post. There's various different clubs, organisations and events that all run under the MCUI, and they have to go into meetings. So, and discuss their own budgets and their own forward thinking and budgeting for their events in 2023. Doesn't make it very easy at all, because they're pretty much, when it comes to that side of things, they are not standalone events. They all run under certification from the MCUI.
Yeah. So, I think, like you say, with home insurance, car insurance, everything like that, everything is going up naturally. And I think, we're in the day and age where things, unfortunately, are only going to get worse. And I think, for me, over the last couple of years, with insurance increasing even for short circuit racing, it was only going to be surely, a matter of time, where there was going to be this increase in the insurance.
Yeah, of course. It's always difficult because, there are so many claims that go on now, and that's not being vindictive or pointing the finger at anybody. Everybody's got their own reasons. There are so many, and it's so expensive. It really is. And of course, when it comes to renewing policies, unfortunately, that's pretty much what hurts. It really does. But hopefully that that industry will calm down. So after 2023, maybe it won't be so bad. But hopefully all of the events can ride that wave for 23 without doubt, and keep pressing forward for 24 if they can't do anything in 23.
Thank you, Steve. Just moving away from the roads, back to BSB. Would you just be able to explain to the listeners about the plans and what's going on and what the changes are for the team in BSB this year?
For the Synetic team, Danny Buchan will be staying on the Superbike. We will be running the Superstock as well in the National Superstock Championship with a new M1000RR. we're just running one Superbike this year because it's going to be a busy garage anyway, with everything that's going on from pre-season testing through to the Superbike and the Superstock. So, it's going to be pretty much the same kind of setup this year within the box and staff as well with a two-man team.
Brilliant, thank you. Just going back to the F900s, it's really exciting to, like Stuart put it, a stripped back championship. And one interesting thing that I've been reading as well is, am I correct in saying that there is a limitation to 2 sets of tyres for, per round?
Yeah, the regs are pretty much out. A rough version of the regs, they will be sharpened up slightly with when more information's there. But yes, correct. Pretty much 4 tyres per event. So I'm pretty sure you could possibly use 3 rears in the front. It's not just 2 pairs, but and that's dries, of course. So it's very even. It's it's one make fuel, controlled fuel, should I say. So it's so even, it really is. It's more a case of getting used to the bike. For some people, they are a little bit different. I've done probably up to 2,000 miles testing this bike over the last 9 months. Done a lot of work, and the bike's brilliant. It really is. I'm not just saying that because I'm an ambassador of the championship, but I've been on various events, track days and track time, and it can embarrass some people on some big sports bikes. It really can. Lap times will be decent.
Fascinating. Have you had any feedback from any of the riders that have been out in Spain, maybe testing the bikes, riders that are going to be competing? What's their initial thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much. We have had some feedback just recently over the last week, in all fairness, from various guys. Somebody crashed one a couple of days ago, and it crashed very well. But you're always going to get that, of course. But even, I believe, Spike Edwards, you remember Spike? He's been riding one the last couple of days.
Very well.
Very complimentary of the bike. He's been running one with the ABS braking system. There will be an option of disconnecting that if you wish. That's up to the rider on a personal point of view, but that will be allowed to be disconnected. So yeah, really, really good feedback. It's quite in a standard setting with the standard bars and seats, that when you first jump on, it feels initially like they're quite a high bar. There is a straight bar to use if you wish, but to be quite honest with you, once you've done 5-10 laps, you very quickly get used to it and it becomes the norm. It really does, yeah.
Brilliant. Just out of curiosity, something that, I'm not sure about, just looking at the bike would, to the eye look like it's quite heavy. What's the weight of the bike now?
Do you know what? When I first rode the F900R, it's very true. When you look at it, you can't flip it out. That's going to be a handful, because we're trying to attract youngsters, some young guys into the series that probably can't afford to go and ride the Red Bull Rookies or quite an expensive championship. And obviously the youngsters are quite small, thin. I wouldn't say weak, that's not the right way of putting it, but not quite as beefy as maybe myself, or not that I'm big, but but actually it's much easier and smaller and maneuverable than what it looks. It really, really is, yeah.
Brilliant, because it looks like a Street Fighter type shape. So I've picked enough of those up in my time, and then they're very heavy, which is exactly why I asked the question. And one question, Steve, that I'm sure everyone wants to know. We saw Chris Walker and John McGuinness try the hand, back at the Ducati Championship last year. We got any chance of seeing you maybe trying the championship yourself, or seeing you do something else?
See me? Flipping heck. Hey, listen, I'm happily married. It's going to cost me a divorce if I... No, seriously. No, the answer to that is no. It's sometimes I get offered so many different things, but sometimes you think, God, you know what, it'd be nice to, but realistically, I have quite busy weekends, overseeing everything, looking after everything and making sure everything's running okay. So for me to be jumping on racing, I'll only be start taking it serious and wanting to win. So it's a fine line, and I'm a very, very strong believer. When any of those thoughts about retiring, you must draw a line in the sand and stop. Yeah.
That's fair enough. Wise words.
Everybody thinks differently, and I'm not criticising anybody else for wanting to carry on. I'm very lucky because I do an awful lot of testing. I've been testing all day today, testing work as well as riding parades and various different circuit and road riding. So I still managed to get my 2-wheel fix and really enjoy it. But as far as the competitive nature, the only kind of semi-competitive race, well, I say semi, it's more like a Grand Prix, that I do annually, if it doesn't clash, is the Goodwood Revival. That's it.
Nice. Yes. Well, been fantastic to have you on and to talk about the team and the new champion. Well, the cup. It is a cup, isn't it? It's not a championship.
Yeah, it's a cup. It's obviously a support class of the BSB series, but it's a cup. Yeah. National.
It'll take me a little while to get used to the naming of it, but the new BMW series. Full
grids, which is 72 riders. It'll take you a little while to get used to all of those flipping names.
Yeah, that's possibly true, and maybe a few that we already know. Who knows?
Well, they'll if you keep watching the press, we'll be dripping and dropping a few names very soon.
Okay, fair enough, and definitely no wild card appearance from yourself then.
Hey, I've been dangling carrots I've just been down to London Show, dangling various carrots. And there's a few people coming out of the woodwork, but I believe after Thursday, when this is released of the prize funds and how the championship's going to work, I believe there'll be quite a few more.
All right, well, keep your eyes peeled. Good luck for the launch of the season, Steve, and for the team and for everything as well. You are probably one of the most busiest people in the paddock. So yeah, best of luck to you, Steve. And have a great season.
Before you
go on,
Steve, just before you run away quickly, obviously the big points overhaul for the Superbike Championship this year.
Yes.
A change after a number of years. Some people hating the idea of a championship, of this, the showdown. Some people thinking it's a great idea. What's your thoughts on, the point system?
Hey, listen, it needed a little bit of a shake-up as far as realistically, Stuart Higgs, they did a fantastic job. The organisation, 2009. I think I did the first round 2009 with HM Plant. Leon Cami had destroyed the opposition pretty much. Once he got his head into gear with the Amhar, he destroyed the opposition all year and was quite a boring championship. So, of course, the showdown was introduced, and you've only got to look at the gate and look at the numbers at all the circuits. It obviously worked. And it's done a great job. The only negative with the showdown is the teams or the riders that weren't in it. I know it's changed over the last year or two, so that they were more allowed in the showdown. But the only negative is the teams and the partners of the teams that weren't going to be in that. So it's been readjusted, and it's always good to change things. It doesn't matter how good it is, because it gets stagnant and it makes it more attractive, of course. So I believe it's going to work really well this year. Of course, BSB is so competitive at the front. If you was down to your last 500 quid and you've got to pay the mortgage, you wouldn't bet it on one man, would you, for the 2023 champion? The points are going to change. Don't flip and ask me about the points. I haven't really got my head around exactly how the championship works and the different point system up until the last few rounds. But I believe in it. I have every confidence, and the most important part for the team and for all of our partners is people keep flowing through those gates and paying their money.
Yeah, especially after past couple of years as well, Steve. So, we'll have to wait and see what does happen and how well it's going to be received with the points and stuff, and how well your own team's going to be doing in their in the mix as well, and with everything. So appreciate you coming on, and thank you very much, Steve Plater, for coming on the Superbike Show here on Motorsport Radio. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.